question, sir. You frequently took credit for the stock market highs. You said it was a reflection of how well you were doing in the polls, and then after you were elected, you said the stock market highs were a reflection of how well the transition is going and the American people's confidence in your incoming administration. Now, the stock market's not doing so well, and you're saying that's the Biden stock market, yet you are the president. Can you explain that?
Yeah, I'm not taking credit or discredit for the stock market. I'm just saying that we inherited a mess, both at the borders. You could look at every single one of the people here, and no matter who it is, they're doing better, and they're far superior.
All right, so here we go. It's a brand new week. So I dropped a couple of MarketWatch videos, and I guess this will probably be part of the next one. It's kind of like apocalypse driving, except there's no more apocalypse unless you're talking about the stock market. But as you can see right there, it's our favorite Cybertruck. We've seen him before, 5-year wait. It's easy to recognize this guy because of the license plate, 5-year wait. It's all dirty and dusty. It's got a couple of handprints on it. Fortunately, nobody scratched it up or anything. Like, he hasn't been attacked. He hasn't been defaced or vandalized. In Tesla news, supposedly Tesla is saying that they're planning on making cheaper cars based on stripped down versions of what they currently have. So they're saying that they're not gonna do like an all new Model 2, apparently. They're claiming that they're gonna make a stripped down version of, I guess, the 3 and the Y, which is kind of strange to me because if you've looked at any of those cars, it's like they already are stripped down versions. I don't foresee them trying to sell any of those cars with no steering wheels and no brake pedals and accelerator pedals, because at this point that would just be stupid, and chances are you'd be setting yourself up for some serious lawsuits if something happens, when something happens. But the reality is, it's like Tesla, you know, their stock took a plunge. It looked like it was rallying back up, because you got to remember, a lot of people play options with Tesla stock. So it looked like it had started rallying back up. Someday it might hit $500. So all you can do is just wait and see. Now, elsewhere, Amazon's Jeff Bezos claims that he's going to make a truck that's like a basic electric vehicle truck. And he's claiming that this thing is going to get, what is it? He said it's going to be like $30,000 or less. It's going to be like $28,000. And it's just like, it might not have speakers, and it might have wind-up windows that you got to roll up with the handle. And I'm like, that's really stupid. It's like, with all of the technology and the 3D printing and all the shit that we got, you're telling me that you can't build. You're telling me that you can't build a truck that has like just power windows, you know, power door lock, like basic stuff. I'm not talking about anything super advanced, but power windows, power door locks, and like basic stuff like an air conditioner and stuff. You're telling me that you can't do that for anything less than $30,000. Meanwhile, for that same $30,000, the Chinese have their trucks can go in the water in the swamp and not short out. Like, they've got trucks with reclining leather seats and all. Like, I'm like, you're telling me that this is the best you can do for $30,000? It's embarrassing, really, in my opinion. More so embarrassing than this Cybertruck is. You know, that's just embarrassing. I mean, come on, really? That doesn't make no damn sense. But yeah, I wonder how this guy feels driving that thing, knowing that if he parks it in the wrong place, like, somebody's gonna vandalize it. Wonder how he feels about that. Or I wonder if the nostalgia has like worn out yet, you know? Because to be perfectly honest, if I was like an electrician, or if I was like a welder and I needed a vehicle that was economical, and I also needed to have a power source with me that I could use to charge my tools and power my tools, I'd get a Cybertruck. But it's utilitarian on a level I don't need it to be. You know, so I mean, yeah, certain people might need something like that, but it's like, me personally, I couldn't do that. I couldn't. There's too many other options out there. And you know, it's funny, when I was talking in the video about people who screwed up and were like stupid for overpaying on markups, you know, a lot of people overpaid on Cybertruck markups. I remember when the Cybertruck first came out, all these YouTubers were desperate to get one of those things just so that they could make videos on it. YouTube video reviewers were desperate to get one just so they could make video reviews about it. And they were paying like $200,000 for those things. And they like, and then Tesla had this thing where you weren't allowed to flip it, you weren't allowed to sell it. You couldn't sell it early. And I'm like, yo, guys, how could you allow yourselves to get ripped off like that? Just because they say that's what they want for it doesn't mean you got to pay it. But these people, man, they were spending that money like it didn't matter. Looking at this Hummer right here, I remember how Hummer used to be hated as much as Tesla was, and people used to go to the dealerships and they would scratch Hummers, they would set them on fire, and they would say that they're not economical and they're not environmental. And look at this thing. Look at that thing wobble. Look at that. You can see that there's something wrong with that back left tire. You can see that thing's leaning on its back left tire. And you can also, if I'm holding this phone steady enough, you can see that thing wobbling. It's like a death wobble. But hey, as long as it works, as long as it don't fall apart, he seems happy to me. But and it's sad, because if he got that thing all tuned up and fixed up, the Hummer H2 is still a pretty cool vehicle. And I remember when those things first came out before inflation hit, you know, those were like $55,000, $60,000, and that was a lot of money back in 2008, 2005, 2006. That was a lot of money back then. But now, $50,000, shit. There's a lot of people who'd buy that car if it was new for $50,000. Now you could probably get that thing less than 30 because it probably has so many problems. But my problem with the Hummer, because I had actually looked into getting one of those things, my problem was the ceiling was low and the inside was like all plastic. I was like, no, I'd rather get a Cadillac Escalade truck, the EXT. But I had looked into getting one of those Hummers, and I went to the dealership. I was like, wait a minute, you're paying $60,000 for this shit? I was like, hell's no. Now, what, they got the Hummer EV, and the Hummer EV is basically a more plastic utility version of the Escalade IQ. And I like that Escalade IQ. I really like that Escalade IQ. Right now, they're offering leases on those for like $1,800 a month. But again, that Hummer, that was a utilitarian truck. And I remember there was some people who, because, you know, these idiots were setting these things on fire and vandalizing them, I remember there was a guy who was making a video, and he was a farmer, but it wasn't really a video. He was doing like a news journalist report. And he was a farmer, and he was using the Hummer to tow his farm equipment, because the Hummer had the ability to tow a lot because it had that V8 in it. You know, I think that Hummer H2 is actually a better overall truck than this Cybertruck is when it comes to towing stuff. Because Whistling Diesel already showed you that most of this car basically comes apart. It's held apart, you know, it's held in one piece by like adhesives and stuff. And this guy has the side, running boards. You know, I'm really surprised Tesla didn't actually put more money into this thing and make it so that the running boards were like, powered, because that's what I would have done. And there's a Tesla Model Y right over there that just passed. But, yeah, very interesting times we live in. You know, but and right now, New York State, just like I expected, New York State, of course, they hate Elon Musk. They're trying to get rid of Tesla. So it's like, I don't know if you could call this the downfall of Tesla, but the reality is Elon Musk, he simply may have to step down as CEO, because Tesla at this point, there's nothing wrong with the brand. The problem is Elon Musk. And, I really think that he might have to step down because his shareholders, his biggest shareholders, are not happy. They watch themselves, go to $488 a share only to watch themselves collapse. And right now, I think it's like $285 a share, if I'm not mistaken, because I haven't looked at it in like a day or two. But I think he has to resign. And it's funny because even all of the Tesla fan base who used to defend him on everything, most of them, those people are quiet as kept. Like, they're silent now. Like, you don't even hear nothing from them. And you can see, even in this video, you can see just how many Teslas there are. Like, here in New York. See, and that's the thing. A lot of people, when electric vehicles don't sell, that's just, no, you're stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. Electric vehicles are selling. Let me turn on my automatic driving. But no, electric vehicles do sell. When you live here in New York and you commute, especially if you're at the outskirts and you commute into Manhattan, or if you're living in Long Island and you commute into Manhattan, that's a lot of fucking gas you'd be using every day. It's a lot. And Trump claimed, oh yeah, well, I'm going to bring down gas prices, but that shit still hasn't happened. Oil per barrel has come down a little, but gas prices are still high, especially when you're talking about super premium unleaded. As far as I'm concerned, until super premium is below $2 like it was during COVID pandemic and during Barack Obama's inauguration, until super premium is below $2, no, gas is high as far as I'm concerned. A lot of people have switched to electric vehicles, or they've switched to 4-cylinder cars because, yeah, gas is high. That's why even the truck makers are trying to make cheaper trucks. They're doing everything they can to make more efficient and less expensive and cheaper trucks because gas prices are very, very high. Look at this chick. She got her Land Rover, Range Rover, Land Rover. So everybody's interested in getting one of those, and it's only the insurance companies. Wait. I think we got a car accident. Oh, no, we don't. Okay, that guy just opened up his door. Yeah, I saw the guy open up his car. I thought somebody got hit. Because that happens a lot. You can imagine with this bumper-to-bumper traffic all the time, that shit happens a lot. But, yeah, that's just what it is. So basically, here I am. This is the route you got to take to Manhattan. Like, you want to go to Wall Street. And once you get closer and closer and closer, the traffic just condenses. Or you want to go to, and then you got to deal with, congestion pricing and stuff. It's really cheaper to just drive your car to the Long Island Railroad and just get on the Long Island Railroad and take that into the city. It's actually a little bit cheaper. It's even cheaper if you live near the Long Island Railroad just not to have a car at all. They've ruined everything. They really have. They've absolutely ruined everything. They really have. This is the shittiest leadership I've ever seen. It's not leadership. It's more like these people are just there to steal money. I'll make this relatively short. There's a simple reason why I put that post right at the beginning. It's because basically this video of MarketWatch is a reaction to that Trump basically blaming Biden, claiming like this is his fault. I'm really sorry for you, buddy. You see, the problem that you have is that when you came into office, in fact, let's just look back. Just, 6 months ago? January 20th. If you look back to January 20th, if I can see it, basically the Dow was at 44,000. And when Trump basically stepped into office, the Dow was between about 44,000. It stayed pretty high. Right up until he started talking about tariffs. Now, the Dow stayed around 44, 43, which was pretty acceptable. But it hit a high of 45,000, and that was back during December 4th. So it was pretty much understood that, yes, Trump was going to be sworn in. He was the president. And the Dow basically rallied up to 45,000. And by the time he stepped into office, it was about 44,000 and some points. Here's the problem, buddy. As soon as you announced the tariffs, the Dow dropped like 4,000 points. It did it like within two phases. It was like 2,000 the first day, and it was like 2,000 like the day after. So you can't. There's nobody to blame. You can't blame anybody, and that's ultimately the problem with having a Republican-controlled Congress, a Republican-controlled executive branch, and a conservative-leaning Supreme Court. This is your economy. You own it. And it's just that simple. And I really think that most of the people who are upset and saying that in these polls, and they're saying that Trump's first 100 days in office is a failure, I don't think that these people care about the illegal immigrants that he's been deporting illegally without due process. I don't think these people care about them at all. I think the only thing that they care about is their stock market portfolio or their 401ks. Because watching yourself lose thousands upon thousands of dollars, like me, I've already said it. I have a regular pension plan, I have savings, and I have real estate property. I don't have a 401k, nor am I really interested in a 401k. I could start one, but I'm not interested in it. It doesn't make any sense for me at this point because I'm going to be retired in 10 years. You're going to see me in either Philippines or Thailand. I'm going to have some young chick just like Bill Belichick, and she's going to be pouring buko juice and coconut oil down the crack of my ass and giving me massages all over my body. So I'm not worried about retirement. Most of these other Americans, y'all got 401ks, and just by watching the stock market collapse and fall, yeah, it hurts. Now, I do have ETFs. I do have dividend-paying stocks. So, yeah, I'm not very happy about seeing the Dow fall 4,000 or 5,000 points either. But what I can say is I'm not worried because one way or another, the Dow's going to end up at 50,000 probably within the next 5 or 6 years, whether Trump is in office or not. But the bottom line is it's just poor sportsmanship at this point to try to... You can't blame this on anybody. You can't blame it on Biden. You can't blame it on Obama. There's no... You just can't. You can try to go back and try to make the case that this is all Clinton's fault for NAFTA or something, but nobody's going to buy that. I mean, you can try to, this is all Biden's fault because Biden was demented. No, I'm sorry. And that's the reality. And the thing about it is, this is just the first 100 days, So we've got, 3 more years and a half or something like that? Yeah, it's going to be a while. But the thing about it is, I personally believe that Trump is going to back off of these tariffs. I think he understands China is not fucking playing. I think he understands that he has no choice but to back off these tariffs. I think China, for instance, I'll probably read about it. In other news, Jeff Bezos, he was planning to put a little addendum on everybody's Amazon bill to tell them just how much Trump's tariffs were costing them, to make it a long story short. Trump attacked Bezos and publicly, this is blah, blah, blah. And apparently Bezos backed down from that plan. Now, I would urge all importers, eBay, Apple, I would urge everybody, no, that's exactly what you should do. Because the reality is, with tariffs, the corporations are going to make the customer ultimately pay the tariff. Now, there's a couple of ways they can get away with it, and you might not notice. One of them is shrinkflation. I've noticed that with some of these soft drink companies like Arizona. What they've done is they've kept the price of a can, a 32-ounce can, they've kept it at $1, where inflation had driven the price up to $1.25. But when you actually look closely at the ingredients, you realize that there's less sugar in that can than there was in the can that was $1.25. That's an example of shrinkflation. What they're doing is they're giving you a product that looks like the product you normally buy, but unless you're paying close attention, you don't realize that it's missing something. It's missing weight, it's missing ingredients, it's missing something. So the reality is, all of these companies, what they should do is, for their prices going up, they should actually let the customer know exactly what these tariffs are costing. But of course, Trump doesn't want that because, then, people will blame him. And that's the simple fact. And, of course, he would try to blame Amazon and try to blame Bezos. But no, if I blame Bezos for anything, it's for backing down. You shouldn't back down. What you should do is you should absolutely put those prices on those products. And you should show everybody exactly what it costs. You have to think about it. Amazon, eBay, and a number of these other online companies that you shop from, they figured out a way to get a product all the way from China to your front doorstep, and it didn't cost you a fortune in shipping. What's amazing to me is that if I try to ship a gift box, like a small package of stuff, like a small gift, because right now I have a friend in China, and she's about to go into surgery. She has it's not cancer, but she has like a tumor. And she's about to go into a surgery. And sometimes I've sent her like little gifts and stuff in the mail. It costs me like between $40 and $80 to mail something to like Shanghai. But they figured out how to get this stuff all the way from China to your front door within a week or two. And it doesn't cost you a fortune. Now, typically, the way shopping typically used to work was they would get all of this stuff to a department store, and then you'd go to the department store and you'd buy it and you'd bring it home. So you use some energy and you use some fuel to go to the department store and bring it home. They figured out a way to get this from China all the way to your front door without it costing you an arm and a leg. And I don't know how they did it. I don't even care how they did it. But the shopping with them, for the most part, I think we can all agree, has been a pleasant experience. You order something, and it doesn't matter what company it comes from. It doesn't matter what country it comes from. It comes all the way to your front door, and all you do is go outside, and hopefully you don't live in a neighborhood where you got porch pirates. But for the most part, it comes to your front door, and boom, it's right there. And if it doesn't come to your front door, it comes to one of those Amazon bins, and the computer, you just type in your name and number and everything, and it just opens up, and boom, your product's right there. That's amazing. So, long story short, what does it say? S&P 500 stock futures rise after Microsoft Meta post earning beats. So, how Microsoft and Meta doing? Because I told you a while ago, yeah, you should buy Microsoft. Now, even though Meta has been doing, I guess, fairly well, I can't see putting money into that piece of shit Zuckerberg's hands. In fact, right now I have a Facebook jail thing that lasts until like May 13th or something like that. Because Facebook is they're a bunch of cowards. They're a bunch of scumbags and cowards. And frankly, listen, I don't care how much Meta costs. I treat Meta just like I treat one of those cryptocurrencies. I'm not investing in it. I'm sorry. So if y'all want to invest in it, you go ahead and do that. But I can't see putting no money in that scumbag's pockets. And that's just how I feel about it. So yeah, it's personal, but hey, that's just what it is. So anyway, Microsoft is doing pretty good. They're definitely in the green. They're part of my man-goat strategy. That's Microsoft, Apple, NVIDIA, Google, Amazon, oil stocks, and Tesla, right? I should also point out that Tesla is actually, I guess I should say, up a bit. They're up to $282. And the problem is for Tesla that Elon Musk, he has done his best job to alienate potential Tesla buyers. And in some cases, you could say that he's alienated a lot of potential EV buyers. Now, Tesla stock has always been on this roller coaster. It's like even when you look at the 10-year of Tesla, and Tesla's really been, around since 2012. But if you look at the 10-year of Tesla, Tesla's been on a roller coaster for a very long time. My recommendation is, and I probably don't even have to recommend it. My recommendation is to just, if you're holding Tesla, especially if you have pre-split stock on Tesla, you might as well hold it and just hope that it keeps trending upwards, because there's a lot of people playing options on Tesla. So you never know where its price is going to be from day to day. But my thing is, if it hits the high again of 488, or if it somehow gets to $500, I'm afraid I would just have to hit the sell button at that moment, because and the scary thing is, you don't know if it'll go higher than that. But my thing is, if it hits 488 again, I'm selling all. Like, I sold some before when I bought my second house. But if that shit hits 488 or 500 somehow by some miracle, I'm hit and sell. Because there are better places I could put my money than a stock that's run by somebody who's literally making enemies out of the public. And, we got 3 or 4 years. The stock could go anywhere in 3 or 4 years. It could go down. But my thinking is, you have to have diamond hands on it, but hold it. And if it does hit that high again, I'd be out. And you could take that same money and you could invest it in something else. Or you could rotate into credit cards like I've been suggesting, or you could rotate into bank stocks that pay dividends. It's like Tesla pays no dividend. There's no reason to hold Tesla stock. That's the reason why they're hit by options traders so much. There's no reason to hold the stock. They have no dividend. And then you got the CEOs crazy and talking shit. Whether you think he's crazy or not, the bottom line is he's alienating potential Tesla buyers. There's a lot of these people who are giving those cars up. There's a lot of people who don't want to be seen in those cars because of peer pressure. There's a lot of people who are, vandalizing the cars, for God's sakes. So that makes other people feel it's bullying, basically. But we have a government that isn't prosecuting these people to the fullest extent of the law. And what's stupid about it is the cars themselves record people and catch them on camera. So, I don't know how you feel about it, but that's up to you. So anyway, back to this whole thing about the Dow Jones in this first 100 days. So it says how Trump's first 100 days have affected your portfolio. Okay, this is an Apple news thing, so I might not be able to read it. But it says Tuesday, April 29th marked the end of President Donald Trump's 100-day in office, a time frame often used as a short-term measure stick for a new administration. Since Inauguration Day, there has been a flurry of executive orders and market jolts, and lots of folks, myself included, are feeling whiplash just a few months in. While Trump's desire to fire Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, which I said from the very beginning that shit wasn't going nowhere, Jerome Powell is the one who's really in charge, is certainly notable. The biggest headline coming out his first 100 days in office is his aggressive tariff policies, which reset a global economic system that had been in place for the past 80 years or so and sparked a trade war with China. The reason why he did this is because China was winning, and he got tired of not winning, so he figured that if he shakes the thing up, that he'd be able... Like, basically, Trump is playing this game like if you're in the park and a pigeon knocks over the chessboard and then shits all over it. He thinks he won, but the reality is, no, he didn't. So anyway, it says, according to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, tariffs with China are unsustainable at current levels. This and the administration's lack of a clear-cut trade plan have created market instability. Now, this is the Treasury Secretary speaking. Since January 20, the Dow Jones Industrial Average has down 6.7%, the S&P 500 has shed 7.2%, and the NASDAQ composite is 11% lower, erasing trillions of dollars in market value from investors' portfolios and retirement plans. Based on the S&P 500 return, this is the worst stock market performance for a president's first 100 days, going back to the start of Richard Nixon's second term in 1972. According to CFRA research. Meanwhile, in the bond market, the 10-year Treasury yield hit a 6-month low of 3.86% on April 4th after China issued retaliatory tariffs on Trump's reciprocal levies, down from 4.623% on January 20th, but has since jumped back up to the 4.20 level. Here we take a closer look at 5 other ways our portfolios have been impacted during Trump's first 100 days in office and what we can expect moving forward. Not only has uncertainty over Trump's tariff plans increased volatility in the equities and bond markets, but it's ramped up expectations that the U.S. economy could enter a recession at some point in the near future. Okay, first of all, I don't believe a word the news says. As far as I'm concerned, we're already in recession, and we've been in recession for quite some time. I would argue that we're probably in a stagflationary period. And the reason why I say that is because one of the tenets of stagflation is poor government programs. So you have a period of high unemployment, high underemployment being one that I added in. You've got this dude laying off federal workers. You've got people who are underemployed. And the reason why you have to add underemployment is because if they simply talk about unemployment, those numbers can be lied about. So when the government tells you about unemployment, what they're not counting is the people who left the workforce and aren't seeking a job. There are estimates that there's 10 million male workers that are not in the workforce currently. Where are they? They're at home, chilling, playing video games with their parents, and they're just, not working. So the reality is, I don't trust those numbers. And you could argue that, oh, well, if you don't trust those numbers, then, you shouldn't trust these. Okay, you could make that argument. But the reality is this is closer to believable. I'm just saying that I don't believe that they're right about not being in a recession. I think we're in a stagflationary period. HATSI is currently places 45% odds of a recession occurring within the next year, but says it won't. No. See, the problem is it's not officially a recession until the government says it's a recession. So if you have to depend on a government to say it's a recession, and the information is coming from somebody who's blaming the last president for his tariffs dropping the stock market, well then, who are you getting this information from? It's like, I'm sorry, I can't accept that. Still, asset valuations in both the stock and bond markets remain elevated, which increases the risk of a bigger sell-off if the economy slows. Even with this uncertainty, investment strategy analysis, an analyst at Wells Fargo Investments Institute says that staying fully invested in equity markets over a full market cycle can be more beneficial than selling into volatile markets. And I totally agree with that. It's just like I've been saying, you got to have diamond hands right now. Trump can come out and say something stupid and the entire market drops. He could say something stupid on purpose to drop the market because, as you know, insider trading between Nancy Pelosi and now you got Bo Burt and you got all these Congress people under suspicion of insider trading, Noam or whatever. You got all these people under suspicion of insider trading. So the problem is now they're saying, oh, yeah, well, he's doing this on purpose, and he's telling his friends where to buy and how to buy. So now you can't trust anything because there's no other president short of declaring war or short of declaring a state of emergency. And they're very, very careful about doing that because they know the stock market's going to drop. This guy comes out, we're going to put tariffs on McDonald's Islands with the penguins. And you're like, huh? Stock market drops. But China has basically, they've been pretty calm. It's like Bruce Lee said. It's like, you must make your mind like water. Water can flow and water can crash. If you put the water into the bottle, the water becomes the bottle. If you put it into the wine glass, the water becomes the wine glass. You must make your body like water, my friend. That's how the Chinese know what they're doing. They're riding this shit out. They laughing at Trump. They're like, yeah, buddy. Yeah, okay, you want to do 145%? We'll do 200%. What are you going to do now? They're laughing. They know they've been around longer than the United States of America has existed. These people know what they're doing. They wouldn't be there if they didn't know what they were doing. They are using Bruce Lee's art of fighting without fighting. That's what they're doing. They're going to sucker your stupid ass out onto the boat raft, and then they're going to untie the boat raft, leave you in the middle of the South China Sea. That's what they're going to do. But this guy, you can't bully these people. You can't bully these people. You can't insult these people. You can't bully these people. First of all, if you insult them, the insult just flies right over their head because they don't know what you're talking about. Second of all, if you try to bully them, all they're going to do is reciprocal tariffs and retaliatory reciprocal tariffs. You can't beat these people. The American worker, and I understand most of you people don't travel because you probably ain't got enough money to travel. The American worker, for some reason, thinks that tariffs are going to work. It's not. It's not. There's too much of our shit that's being imported. There's just way too much of it. And at this point, those people over there have gotten so good at making our stuff that we're not turning this around. Our people can't do anything. Our people are poorly educated. Our people don't want to work because they're lazy as fuck. Our idea of work is getting on OnlyFans and taking pictures of their feet and showing off their feet to thirsty dudes on the internet. That's our idea of work at this point. Our idea of work, if you ask any of these kids, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? Yeah, I want to be a YouTube influencer. It used to be, I want to be a rapper. I want to be a basketball player. I want to be a fashion model. But then they realized, oh, wait, that's too much work. These are some lazy ass kids. And I don't even blame them. Their brains have been turned to mush by TikTok. Their brains have been turned to mush. They're like one step higher than zombies. One step higher. So the reality is, I don't know. Florida is like, oh yeah, well, we're going to lower the age of work so you can work when you're 14. These kids ain't going to do that shit. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was the Japanese, they just developed a new robot that can pick strawberries. It's like, these kids ain't going to do that shit. You think you're going to get kids to clean septic tanks? Yeah, okay, try that. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. You think you're going to get kids picking strawberries on a 100-degree day? Yeah, okay. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see that. You think you're going to get 14-year-old kids out there picking fucking blueberries? Yeah, okay, yeah, uh-huh. Yeah, I'd love to see that. So the reality of the situation is, I have no problem with getting rid of illegal aliens. I have no problem with it. My thing is, we need migrant workers. We have no choice. So what you got to do is now you kicked out Jose. If Jose is not a gang member, then you got to get Jose back here and you got to give him a real ID that says Jose on it and let Jose come on back. That's the only way this works out. You got to let Jose back in. You got to let Hector, you got to let Hector, let him back in, get him a real ID. It says Hector on it. Let Hector back. You got to get Consuela. You got to get, who else? Pablo. You got to get Juan. You can't do this. Like, I'm sorry. Our kids don't know shit about roofing. Right now, I want to do something with my roof. I can't do shit. Do you think I can ask one of these fucking kids about going up on a roof? Hell no. That's a lawsuit waiting to happen. Hector can handle it. Hector will get that No, and this is not even a joke. This is not even a joke. I needed a part of my roof on one of my houses done. This is not even a joke. I did this last year. In fact, I got to call these people back. But anyway, I had a part of my roof done last year. I was looking to find somebody who could do it. Every single one of these goddamn businesses I called said, oh, well, we don't really do roof repair. We only do whole roofs. So they only did the full roof. They didn't do roof repair. So sure enough, there was one of my other neighbors, and you got Hector. I'm just making that name up right now because I don't remember what his name was. But Hector had his van, and it said, yeah, we do roofing. So I was like, hey, Hector, yeah, how much would it be to do this on my roof? Now, the only business I was able to find that said that they would do the thing that needed to be done on my roof, they said it would be like $1,200 or something. Hector did it for like $500 and did a damn good job of it. Hector, let me tell you this. Hector did it so fast that I was like, oh, okay, you know what? I'll go to the bank and you could be there when I get there and I'll have the money for you. So he went ahead of me, went to my house, and I went to the bank. By the time I got home, it was already done. And to this day, it's still an excellent job. Hector did it like, holy shit. He just did it like magic. And I couldn't even get these other people to do it. This guy charged me less than half. So I was damn right. I was like, yo, Hector, hey, you interested in painting? You want to paint this house? And he's like, yeah, I could do it. You just have to get the paint and I'll do it. And I was like, okay. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call you when, painting season comes around where you could, get up there and it's not too hot and all that. But yeah, I got to call this guy back. Now, here's a question. Where are the American kids that I'm supposed to find to do my roof and to paint my house? Huh? Where are they? You know where they are? They waiting for Grand Theft Auto 6 to come out so they can sit on their ass and play video games. The 30-year-old and 40-year-old men are sitting on their ass waiting for Grand Theft Auto 6 to come out so that they could be sitting in their mama's basement playing video games. Hector is out there working. So the bottom line is, yeah, you can throw these people out, but you need to get Hector a real ID. You need to bring him back because this doesn't work any other way. It just doesn't work. I need Hector. I'm sorry, I need him. Now, as long as Hector doesn't work for MS-13 or doesn't work for like La Sombra Negra or something like that, Hector is cool with me. And to be perfectly I'll be perfectly honest, most of y'all don't even care if Hector works for MS-13. If Hector can do your roof for 1/3 the price, Hector will be up there doing your price. He can go gangbang MS-13 later. Most of y'all don't care. You didn't care when Consuelo was taking care of your kids, when she was the nanny, because they've been making fun of the Mexican nanny since the first Bush administration. You didn't care then, and you really don't care now. Because the reality is, if you tried to get Becky from across the street, Becky's going to charge you top dollar. Oh, yeah, well, if you're not going to pay me top dollar, then I'll just go sell my feet on OnlyFans. So I don't really need this job. I'm just doing this to, help pay the bills. But I can just sell my feet on OnlyFans. I can pay the bills faster. Yeah, see, that's the problem. We're all, and there's nothing wrong with capitalism. We're always looking for the lowest possible high quality price, or we're trying to strike a balance between price and quality. So I don't really blame anybody for that. I just want it done, and I want it done right, and I'm willing to pay for it, even if Hector has to do it. Like, what's that guy? Killian Abrego Garcia? He was the gay hairdresser, and Trump shipped him out of here because he claimed he had MS-13 tattooed on his knuckles. For all you know, that dude probably could have cut your hair so sharp that your hair would have been shining like Johnny Bravo. But y'all got rid of him. And now the Supreme Court wants their haircut. So they said, no, Trump, you got to bring that guy back. Because where are we supposed to get our haircuts? So they said, Trump, go get that guy and bring him back. And then Trump goes down there with Nayib Bukele. And Nayib Bukele said, hey, listen, I don't know what to do, man. All I know how to do is buy Bitcoin with El Salvadoran money. I don't know how to bring nobody back. I mean, that would be like importing a terrorist or something. I don't know what to do. This whole thing is a joke. That's your first 100 days. That's your first 100 days right there. So anyway, let's see. Stock market today, S&P posts 6 straight win on talk of tariff, but that was 1 day ago. 7 hours ago, Dow's 273-point fall led to losses in Chevron, Amazon stocks, and Chevron. Then it says S&P 500 futures rise because of Microsoft and Meta. Okay, so it says futures tied to the Dow Jones climbed 147 points, or 0.3. S&P 500 jumped nearly 0.8%, while NASDAQ gained 1.2. I'm about done reading this entire thing because you pretty much get the point. The bottom line is the Dow is still at 40,669, so we're still 4,000 points off. 4,000 points. Now, I don't know how that relates to your stock portfolio directly, nor do I know how that relates directly to your investment 401k, whatever it is you've got. I have no idea how this directly affects you. But the simple fact is, more and more of these former Trump supporters and these independents are showing up at these rallies angry. And that tells me all I need to know. So today is only Wednesday. I don't know when the next time I'll make one of these videos is. It might be the next time that there's real breaking news, because for all I know, the Dow could go up, the Dow could crash. I don't know. So I'm just going to wait and watch and see. But that right there, that's the first 100 days. That's Trump's first 100 days. Now, for all of you diehard loyalists, you don't need to tell me nothing. The simple fact is the numbers speak for themselves. Gas prices are still up. The housing market has not been fixed yet. And, granted, I don't expect him to fix the housing market in the first 100 days. But the stock market is down 4,000 points, and the gas price is still up. He's, as I pointed out in the last video, he's suggesting $5,000 as payouts, trying to get white women to have more children, because Asian women and Hispanic women, their birth rates have gone up. White women have made, and see, this is another thing. I could make a whole other story about that. But the reality is, you can't coerce white women into having these children. They're not going to do it. Right now, Kevin Samuels was out there. He got big for a reason. He was basically telling you that these modern women, it doesn't even matter what color they are, black women, white women, these modern women have decided to compete with men. They have decided they're not going to be in these households. They're not going to be making your steak and taking care of your kids. They are not going to give you a traditional marriage. That's the bottom line. So basically, Trump coming out and trying to coerce women with $5,000, it's like, first of all, to deliver a baby in one of these hospitals costs between $10,000 and $40,000. Like, there's bills out there to prove it. $5,000 doesn't, scratch the surface. And the reality is, you really need these women to have no less than 3 kids in order to say that you're keeping your ethnic group stable. If they're not having at least 3 kids, then the ethnic group is not stable. So you're going to give $15,000 to try to coerce them to have 3 kids? First of all, the average one of these women will make 2 or 3 times that selling their feet pictures on OnlyFans. Or what they got the OnlyFans, that vibrator that has a flashlight on it or something, and they stick that up their behind, and they're on OnlyFans. They're not playing ball with you. They're not giving these dudes traditional marriage. They're dating outside of their race, and we all know what that's about, because we a lot of you dudes, y'all are keyboard gangsters talking shit because y'all are mad that they're chasing BBC. I'm not even going to say what that means. But the reality is, these women are not playing ball. They're not giving. You can't force them to have children, and you can't coerce them. $5,000 is nothing. It's nothing. But that was the Trump plan. Oh, yeah, we're going to have $5,000. And I think they even raised the child tax credit slightly. But it's like, yo, dude, you're not coercing these women to have children. They know what they're doing. They're competing with men. That's what they're doing. They want to get the bag themselves. They're not playing ball with you, bro. So that in and of itself, that was a stupid suggestion. It's never going to work. $5,000 is nothing. That's barely enough for them to buy their next stupid Birkin bag, Coach bag, or Gucci, Prada, or Femi shoes, or whatever it is. $5,000 ain't nothing. They're not. You think they gonna be on OnlyFans with a camera pointed square at their stomach, and that's what they're gonna be doing. Selling the dream. It's like they're not. Are you kidding? $5,000? It's like, really? Is that the best you can come up with? It's like, really? Becky's not doing that. Gabrielle ain't doing that. I don't know where this guy comes. Amy ain't going for it, bro. They're just not. Kelly's not going for it. Stacy's not going for it. I don't understand where you get these ideas. But these dudes, I think it's because they're old. It's like these old dudes, when you're old and you're rich, I think you have an unrealistic understanding about what society looks like, because I can't even say it any better than that. These chicks are not playing that game. They're not. They're just not doing it. And they're not going to do it for $5,000. I don't know where you got that idea from. That must have been a Steve Bannon idea or something. I don't know. That's just dumb. But that's that. There you go. That's your Market Watch report right there. So as you can see, a lot of our other stocks, they're down right now, but I'm not worried because, again, eventually we'll be far into the green. We'll be down 50,000. I'm not worried right now. I am not worried right now at all. So all you got to do is keep on buying, keep on diversifying, and that's it. Just buy and diversify. When it goes up, it's going to go up. And by the way, crypto, when we got Bitcoin at 94,000, XRP still isn't moving yet. You got Litecoin and Ethereum is still down. XLM is still down. All those coins that Trump claimed that he was pumping, they haven't really moved. Solana was Solana over the last 2 years, over the last 10 years. It's like, I guess it's doing okay. I guess, but I'm not seeing the kind of movement that we were promised. And you got Coinbase is $202, so Coinbase is down. Coinbase kind of rises and falls with the other cryptocurrencies, but their problem is, again, they don't pay a dividend, so it's like I'm not interested at all. These people just don't get it. They're up against a country that's got 1.4 billion people, that's next to another country that's got 1.4 billion people, and they've got all of Southeast Asia to trade with. That's almost 685 million people, give or take. It's like they're making their money. They've got beautiful cities. Everything is spick and span. It's clean as it could possibly be. It's like they are pulling their people out of poverty. And meanwhile, our people are going into poverty. Our people right now, they can't buy a house. They can't even afford cars. Their cars are getting repossessed. They're living the dream, and they're living it based on the work that they've done. Our corporations did the same thing that they did with Dubai, Saudi Arabia, and Abu Dhabi. What we did was we sent these people trillions of dollars over the last 25 years. And now they've got a car industry, electric vehicles, and we can't even compete with them. If you think that we can compete with them, then you haven't been there, you haven't lived there, you're out of your mind.
China's position has always been clear. There is no winner in a tariff or trade war. China does not want a fight, but it is not afraid of a fight either. If the US truly wants to resolve the issues through dialogue and negotiation, it should stop its practice of maximum pressure and cease with threats and blackmail. Instead, it should engage in talks with China on the basis of equality, mutual respect, and reciprocity.
To be continued.